Hello, hello. So, diving a little deeper into the Epic 7 Masters 2026, I wanted to focus a little bit on how this ties in to the Epic 7 World Championship in 2026, because it looks like this is just a preliminary, uh, and there's something in quarter two, which is for this Epic 7 Masters, and there's nothing for quarter three, and there's a championship in the quarter four. Now, Smilegate did announce they wanted to make Epic 7 as an esports year-long event thing where people can keep um, staying up to date and know what's happening. So it's a year-long event. So I imagine there will be something in the third quarter as well, like Epic 7 Masters, but I'm not sure. And so if you notice here, Epic 7 Masters gives a money prize pool, but also seeds for the championship. So the top two players will get guaranteed seeds in the championship. And there is some money incentive, which is fine. And we can see how it is spread out here. And now the only way we can have to compare this or to predict how this would go for the championship is to see how it went last year and what has changed and how did they decide to change some of the things in order to make it more interesting or make it year long as they mentioned. Again, I think there should be something in quarter three, but I might have understood it wrong. So if we look at the last year's World Championship, there was some preliminary selection, which I think Epic 7 Masters is. There were server qualifiers, which again I think Epic 7 Masters is. And then there was the tournament, which is for the championship. Also, the prize pool for the championship was a total of 100,000 as compared to 34,000 here, right? Just for the Masters, for the top 8 players. And here's first, second, third, and then runner-up, so up to 7. So eighth player would get nothing, I suppose. And this is for the championship versus the Monolith Skull, whatever you want to call it, uh, the Epic 7 Masters. And then if we look at how it was done last time in 2025, um, there were qualifiers for each server separately. While now we have it by groups. So there's a global group and Asia group. So global group is global server and Europe. Where is it here? So these two, just for the qualifiers, for this Masters qualifier, will make one global group, right? And then Asia, Korea, and Japan will make another group. So there'll be 16 players from these two servers and 16 players from these two servers to compete in the Masters. Now, last time they had a different number of players, and if we see here, for the global servers, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16 players, right? So this is, oh, can I not leave this page now? Hello? I guess I'm stuck here. Oh, here it is. Yes, so for the global server, there were 16 players, and it was combined with the European server, but we see European server has fewer players. It is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. So 16 plus 8, 24 players. This time it will combine these two for a total of 16, right? So it is fewer players, which again leads me to believe there might be a second preliminary, kind of like Masters. And for Asia, it was, how many players do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then 16 for the Asia server. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, another 16 for the Korea server, and Japan is 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. So 16 plus 16 plus 8, what is that? 40 players plus 24 from the other one. So 64 players total. And this time for one preliminary, we have 32 total. Again, we will probably see another preliminary in the same vein to make the same number of players like it was done last year. Right, and only the top two players from this Masters, from these two groups, so 16-16, 32 players, only the top two players who actually reach the finals get a guaranteed spot in the championship for 2026. And and I imagine the next preliminary in the third quarter. Where was this? In the third quarter, there will be a similar Epic 7 Masters that gets two more players for the championship, and I don't know how they will decide the others. Some way they will decide it. And then if we see the tournament stages for last year, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, I think 10 players, and they made this standings where they have the upper bracket, lower bracket. I'm not sure if this is common or if this was just to do with the number of players they had, um, or if they will just do top 8 players for the tournament, or if they'll do more, maybe 16. I think 16 would be ideal, but at this point it's just speculation. I think a very fair speculation is saying that there will be something else in the third quarter, right? Again, they mentioned they want to have a year-long esports event for one, and as we saw, comparing the number of the total number of players in the pool for the preliminaries was 64 last year, and now we only had 32 here. So they will probably want to have more players. And also this time they have an incentive, and I believe last year they didn't have any for the qualifiers. I'm not sure. I didn't see it. So this will bring more players to actually participate. Before it was just for the tournament. That's, it's very few players get there, so it's a lot of effort for low chances of getting the reward, so to speak, or a lot of competition to go through to get a reward. But this time you can have a test of how you would do in a competitive environment that is more organized with some restrictions. That is not just World Arena, and you still have prize money, right? So it's worth it to join this. So this will definitely bring more players. I like the idea of making a year-long event because look, I wasn't playing the game when the last year's tournament was happening. I watched some of the videos, and yeah, but I didn't really keep up with it. I wasn't too interested. If they do it year long, it's usually garners more interest. You know the people, you know the players. You already know there are things happening, so it brings more interest from viewers and more incentive for players to participate. So yeah, that's my prediction. There's going to be something else in quarter three, and it will be probably in the same way. The group classification will be structured in the same way in two groups, except this time the people who already qualified cannot participate for sure. I imagine people do get a second chance if they didn't get through in the first one, but maybe they won't. Who knows? Maybe they want new faces. Um, that is a bit too much speculation. Yeah, that's what I wanted to go over. See how this fits in the championship for 2026 and fits in with their plans for a year-long event. I've repeated myself a few times about this already, but yeah, this is just the first of many. And stay tuned to know more.